What's up, Bill? Howdy, howdy. What's up?
All right. Did you raid that one channel with Aaron or
Miriam set up that raid, but yeah,
okay.
it was Aaron Leclerc.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Have you ever
Yeah.
seen her before?
No, that was the first time.
Uh, I've been following her for over a year.
Really? I like your
Yeah.
style.
She's been doing this busking thing for a while now, at least like for a month or so. But normally she has like a studio apartment that she does live shows from her home. But
Yeah.
yeah, she does outdoor stuff, and I don't know if she's originally from California or what, but yeah, she's a great singer songwriter.
Yep. Yep. She ad libs a lot of stuff, so I
Yeah,
like
and
that.
she does it like very comfortably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's that. I like music that way. That's really, I like a lot of music, but in particular, that's what I liked about Jerry Garcia and the Grateful Dead. I mean, they didn't really write their songs. They just kind of it's like a jam,
yeah, improvisation. Um,
improvisation. Yeah.
there was some man. I'm gonna have to turn you on to a band. I'll find there. I'm sure it's on YouTube. I'll have to get you the link for this one song. There was this hippie rock band from around the same time that the Dead were starting, and Jerry Garcia does a cameo appearance on there, and he's playing the banjo and the fiddle, I think. And man, he's one hell of a fine fiddle player.
Yeah. Yeah. Just there's, that's me. I mean, there's a lot of people that just really don't want to read music and stuff. I mean, I play and entertain myself.
Yeah.
I just really kind of, I'm not trying to write or sing anybody else's music.
Hey, Zoom dude, what's happening?
Yeah, I don't like.
Cheers.
Yep, we got fireworks going on tonight too.
Well, that's why I titled tonight's stream the Boom Boom Room, because I'm like right on the tail end of a small but significant thunderstorm. It
Yeah.
started about maybe 25 minutes ago. And yeah, there were some lightning strikes, within a half mile of here.
That's great.
And
Well, that's great to me. I mean, I wish I had that too.
yeah, we need it. We had, shower strength rain for a good 25-30 minutes. That's
Yeah.
good for the farm.
Sure.
The only problem is the way that the wind was blowing, it blew it directly into the ventilation gaps in my air conditioner. So all the rain was going through my AC unit and soaking my windowsill on the inside.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I got a mess to clean up here, and I got a towel soaking it all up, and I'm gonna have to throw some what do they call that shit? Murphy's oil soap up there after it's dry.
Well, we'll put a fan on it.
Well, the later tonight, I'll just turn the AC back on and put it on the fan only mode. And it's right there. It'll draw all that moisture up, and I'm going to have to soak that entire windowsill with some Murphy's.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to turn my AC off because it actually was getting too cold.
I'll only run it for like maybe an hour at a time. Get the room cool down and lock it up, windows closed, and just use a fan like while I'm doing my streaming.
Yeah.
And when I go to bed, I'll turn the AC back on for like a half hour and then shut it down and fall asleep a lot faster than I would without it.
Yeah. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Looking at the chat. No, I think it's done, Zoom. I don't. If we get anything else, it'll just be rain. It won't be thunderstorms type shit.
Yeah, I haven't been able to wear.
I got to go out and cut grass in the next couple of days.
I've been barefooted all weekend, and actually,
I can't do that outside except if on grass.
I can't.
Concrete.
Yeah, it's this thing on my foot. Is why.
Yeah.
Everything I put on there just irritates it and whatever. It's kind of like it triggered an inflammation response or something on my Achilles tendon. So everything I try to wear on there, it just irritates it. I need to make me a new pair of moccasins. That's what I need right now.
Yeah, have you tried soaking a foot in Epsom salt?
No. No, I've been spraying it with magnesium oil.
Gosh.
That's an anti-inflammatory, a natural. It's natural.
So what's up with you, Zoom dude? How's your weather doing?
Oh my gosh. I froze some peppermint schnapps. I just stuck it in the freezer. It doesn't freeze solid. It stays liquid, but man, it made it so good. It was so cool and refreshing.
Yeah, that's how a lot of people prefer it served, is ice cold. Yeah, I haven't had schnapps was not much of my thing when I was a real drinker. I've had it a few times in my life. I've had strawberry schnapps and I think peach schnapps.
Well, that's what you do. Like if you get like a real rough kind of hard liquor, like let's say Wild Turkey. you know, Wild Turkey or Bacardi 151 or something like that. A hard liquor.
Yeah.
And there's some nasty ones out there that don't taste very good, like 10 High whiskey. And it was my dad that showed me that. Just stick it in the freezer and it makes it drinkable.
Yeah, I think the worst whiskey I've ever had in my life was Yukon Jack. That's bottom of the barrel shit.
That would have to go in the freezer.
And I do not like Wild Turkey. I bought one bottle of that. I think I had someone buy it for me because I think I was only like 20 at the time. And it wasn't even the full proof. It was the half proof shit that you get at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I drank half a fifth of that one night. Oh my God, what a hangover. And the taste, I just did not care for that taste.
You know, I used to love Jim Beam and those kind of things. Even Jack Daniels. I don't like it anymore.
That's how I got started on drinking was bourbon. As far as liquor goes, that was always, I started out on Jack Daniels and then drifted over to Jim Beam. And then I discovered rye whiskey. And I'm a total convert. That's the only whiskey one of the only few whiskeys that I'll drink is rye. I do like Canadian whiskey.
Rye seems a little harsh to me.
It can be, yeah. But man, there's some newer brews or distillers that are making small batch rye, and it doesn't have hardly any of that bark and bite to it.
Oh, okay.
It gives you a sharp taste on the tongue, like on your first sip, but it cools down almost instantly. I get this stuff. My favorite is the George Dickel brand.
Yeah,
they're out of Indiana. That's about the only whiskey that I'll buy for myself at the liquor store.
George Dickel is it. I don't know if I know I've drank the rye one, but I actually like George Dickel actually a little bit better than Jim Beam now.
Yeah, they have a bourbon, but I just love that rye. That's the bottle that I brought out to Wizards last summer.
Sounds like a cowboy saloon thing. I'll have a shot of rye. There's Jason. How's it going, Jason?
Well, I think back in the day, like cowboy times, rye was like the further west you got, rye was more prevalent because they didn't have as much corn, or they couldn't produce as much corn out there than they could with the rye malt or the rye grain. And then there's another major ingredient that I can't remember off the top of my head that's common now. It's like not all just rye. It's like it's a percentage. I think most rye nowadays is something like 35% corn and like 55% rye and another 15% of something else.
Yeah,
might be rice. I don't know.
I'll drink it. I mean, I'm not opposed to drinking it, but it's just not. It's not my favorite anymore. It never was. It really never hit home with me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll buy it again, but I mean, if somebody offers it to me or whatever, I probably will. Or you never know, I might see it on sale or something and buy some. But man, I like Scotch. I just even the cheap Scotch, but there are some scotches that are considered pretty good scotch, and I don't like them. There's I don't like Cutty Sark at all. I do not like Cutty Sark. I don't like Johnny Walker either.
Yeah, I've only had scotch once. I bought a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label.
Yeah,
And it was hard to get through that bottle.
yeah. It really just kind of
I like drinking my whiskey, straight. I don't mix it really with that much of anything, unless I'm got a taste for a whiskey sour every once in a while. But I've just Scotch is not my. I'd rather drink Irish whiskey, cheap Irish whiskey.
Yeah, I drink bottom shelf Scotch. That's what I drink. I just and then I want to step it up a notch. There's another blended Scotch that I'll buy, and it is on par with any single malt Scotch I've ever drank, and it's Famous Grouse. Famous Grouse is.
I've heard of that.
It's freaking smooth. Yeah, it's so smooth. It's like, yeah, it's amazing. And Clan McGregor, you get it in a plastic bottle on the bottom shelf, and it's actually a pretty good Scotch. It's palatable. I just can't drink Cutty Sark and Johnny Walker. I mean, that shit just nasty, man.
Isn't Dewar's a Scotch?
Dewar's, yeah.
Yeah, I've had that before. And man, I was young. I didn't know what the fuck it was. Someone mixed me a drink of it with ginger ale and didn't tell me that it was alcoholic, and I got messed up on that. And I think I was only like 15 years old.
Yeah.
Here, have a cup of this.
But a lot of liquors, you don't really enjoy them unless you drink them right, and some liquors, they need to be cold.
Yep.
They just, some of the harder 10 High whiskey is a bottom shelf whiskey, either bottom or second to the bottom, at least.
Like Granddad.
Yeah. Old Crow. Have you ever drank Old Crow?
I've had it before. Yeah, it's garbage.
It's rot gut.
Yeah.
But like I say, on some ice. Most people, when I was younger, when I was real young, I remember all the old geezers that they always drank whiskeys and stuff, and they would make highballs. They would drink highballs. They would drink whiskey just on the rocks, and that is a really good way to drink whiskey. It tames it down a little bit,
Yeah, my mother was never much of a drinker, but she would, drink socially, like at family get-togethers and stuff. And her thing, she only drank 2 drinks. She either drank whiskey sours or highballs. And so, like, we would go over to Christmas at my aunt's every year. So, like, my mom basically told my aunt, she's like, you got to keep a bottle of Seagram 7 around. That's the only thing I'll drink. And it would sit up in the cabinet for like, almost 15, 20 years until that bottle was done. That's how often she drank.
Well, when I was young, I remember the Army was kind of my first experience with mixed drinks in the enlisted men's club. And they, I was just, give me a Jack Daniels and Coke, a Jack and Coke, or a rum and Coke.
Jim Beam and Coke was popular
because I really didn't know what to order. Time. Yeah, I really didn't know what to order. My palate wasn't very refined as far as alcohol goes. I was young and everything. So it was a Jack and Coke or a rum and Coke, something like that.
Yeah, like when I used to go to heavy metal concerts back in my 20s, by far the cheapest way to get drunk at the bar was rum and Coke. And you would ask for a rum and Coke, and they would give you like the bottom shelf. You had to ask for a Captain and Coke if you wanted like good rum. But like,
See,
you could get a cheap rum and Coke back then for I think like $2.99 to $3.99, because a lot of times at these clubs that would be their house special of the night.
right. But then as time went by and everything, and I started, tasting different things, but I never drank a lot. So, it was rare when I did drink. But as time went by, I've had whiskey and 7, which is pretty good. Whiskey and 7 Up with a couple of cubes of ice.
Yeah, that's my mom. That's it. Seagram's and 7, and I liked it. Myself, I'll get it every once in a while if I'm at a restaurant and having a drink with my meal. But yeah, like Canadian whiskey, Seagram's, and like, oh, what's the other big brand they got out there? Canadian Club.
Yeah.
If you get the VO special bottles, they're a little bit more aged and taste a little bit better. They cost a couple bucks more. That makes a nice drink.
Yeah.
That I can drink with soda water if I wanted to dilute it with something.
And anything else. Actually, before I really drank any hard liquor at all, I used to drink wine. And so, I was experimenting with different types of wine, and trying to see what I liked the best. What it always boils down to is when I was overseas, it was Mateus Rosé. I would get Mateus Rosé, a port wine. Other than that, I tried, white wines, especially a lot of the German white wines. And then I got back here. I already kind of liked wine anyway because I grew up in California, and everybody drinks wine with their meal there, seems like. So we used to have a lot of different wines in California. Carlo Rossi sounds like a cheap wine, but it's actually good for you.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's a red wine. You get the Carlo Rossi Burgundy.
Yeah.
Any of your red wines like that are actually good for your blood and everything.
Yeah, my store, we always kept Carlo Rossi on the shelf, and we sold them in like the 1.5 gallon jug shaped bottles.
Yeah,
they weren't super popular, but they were a steady seller.
Ernest Julio Gallo. We make Ernest and Julio.
Their sangria is very good.
Oh, I don't know. I tried a lot of wines, and what it boiled down to is, in my opinion, I've listened to all these wine freaks that, always claiming that, this wine needs to go with cheese, this one needs with salmon, whatever. I never follow that. I found out that red wine goes good with everything. You get a good dark red wine, goes good with everything. And I stopped worrying about, well, I never worried about it. I never cared about it, really. I just listened to these freaking, debutante type people sipping different wines, and it has a hint of nutmeg and blah blah blah, and this wine, in my opinion, they're wine snobs. I guess that's a good word for it.
That's the term, wine snobs.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, red wine goes good with everything. And even the wine snobs are not going to diss you for it. And I know people that are very knowledgeable about wines and everything, and they say the same thing. They're like, "Hey, I have red wine with cheese. I have it with salmon. I have it with everything I eat."
that's the typical Mediterranean diet.
Yes,
pretty
sir.
much.
And it's
Most people think it's just in France, but that's kind of all over the Med.
and there's a big world of red wine. Lambrusco. Uh,
Chilean
the
wines down in
yes,
Chile, Australia
yeah,
has
yeah.
been picking up in the last couple 20 years, 20, 30 years.
Some coming out of the state of Washington, really good wines. You know. Anyway, so that's the thing. That's all I'm going to say about it. I like the pink wines and the Chablis and all that other stuff, but it all boils down to red wine again. I've tried them all, and I go back to red wine or white wine. I like it. Sometimes I like a really dry white
I'm
wine.
not a big fan of white wine. The only kind I've ever had that I liked is a German white wine. It's got a really long, fucked up name. Gewürztraminer.
Okay.
It's a very dry, crispy white. And actually, like, there's some really good wineries out in Washington State and Oregon that, like, it's the only place that they can grow those kind of grapes over in the U.S. And they make pretty good wine. But I'm mostly a red. But to be honest, I more prefer fruit wines, like the Amish wineries that we got around here. They make some really good fruit wines. But as far as traditional grapes, at least locally, we make. There's a bunch of wineries along the South Shore of Lake Erie. They have a microclimate there, and they grow these special grapes, and they make winter wines that are like, they're super sweet. They're like a dessert wine.
Yeah.
And there's summer wines. The big thing around here is Catawba grapes, and you can get them both red and white. And that's about the only big name winery that I would buy from. Is the brand's called Lonz, Lonz.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's a whole world of brandy, that there's brandy, cognac, stuff like that a lot of people here in the US really have not explored. A lot of people have not.
My grandpa and my dad would always keep a bottle of apricot brandy around, just for like when they got sick with head colds and stuff. It really helped.
Sure. But also mead, brandy, cognac, all those types of things. There's a whole world of that we really don't. Most people I talk to have no idea what it is.
Yeah.
They're like, I've never tried cognac. Well, have you tried brandy? Most people have never tried brandy. They don't even know how to drink brandy.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of different fruit brandies before. They're all right. As far as cognac goes, I made a mistake one night buying a bottle of Hennessy and drank about 3/4 of it in one evening. That's about the drunkest I ever been in my life. It was most definitely the sickest I've ever been in my life from drinking. Oh my God, that was horrible. After that night, I don't think I drank for at least 6 months. Oh. So, cheers. I'm drinking pina colada.
Oh, cool. You ever had a drink called a brass monkey?
No.
That's made with tequila.
Oh, no, I don't drink tequila.
Oh, yeah, but a brass monkey, it is pretty dang good.
I don't even like the smell of tequila. It makes me want to puke.
Well, I had bad tequila experiences.
I've tried it once in my life, and I think I was like 16 at the time. I drank like 2 shots of probably the cheapest that you could find anywhere, the El Toro brand.
Oh Lord. That was the
Yeah.
one I had the really bad experience with. It was the gold version.
Yeah, this was the white version, but
Okay.
it was it was the half proof shit that you get at the grocery store, and that's what my dad, he had the bottle stashed aside because he was making tequila sunrises because he was out of vodka, and that's all he could get that day was you could find was El Toro. And
Oh,
yeah, the bottle sat in the garage for probably a good 6 months, and I was like, he hasn't been touching lately. I can get away with stealing a couple shots, and I just gunned them down, and I'm like, oh my god, that's horrible.
oh man. I'm actually feeling nausea coming on right now thinking about it.
Change the topic.
I've had a good tequila though. I mean, I had some homemade tequila when I was in Mexico. It was homemade and it had a worm in it.
Yeah.
And these guys made it and they were having a party, and it was one of the guys, he was a barber and he was a friend of my brother-in-law, and I made big time friends down in Mexico. I mean, these guys in this little town called Progreso, Mexico, uh, wound up being some of my best friends. I mean, and they're always asking, when's that crazy gringo coming back? They always ask my brother-in-law that. But I got so shit-faced drunk. They got me drunk on their. They're like, you gringos can't handle this. We made this. I'm like, watch me. And I even volunteered to eat the worm, and not one worm. I ate 3 tequila worms. Yeah.
Brave soul.
I was trying to be macho. That's why. It's a macho thing down there.
Yeah.
Had to throw out some machismo vibes, man. I'll eat that freaking worm. And I was seeing double and triple of everything. I mean, I was so messed up. I've never been that. That's the drunkest. Well, I don't know. I think I got drunker one time on the beach in California. And that was drinking a gallon of wine. I drank a whole gallon of wine by myself and smoked a bunch of weed. And yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I got sicker than hell. That I was throwing a Thanksgiving dinner at my apartment, and one of my roommates' dads showed up with one of those Carlo Rossi jug bottles of just like California Red.
Yeah.
And me and him were the only ones drinking. There was like 6 other people there, and they're like, "Oh, if we want a drink, we'll get some beer." And I'm like, I'm making dinner. I made a nice big turkey and all kinds of shit. And I was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll sit down and drink some wine with you." And the evening goes on, and then I'm completely fucking trashed. And I remembered then that I had to go to work and close up the store. I was working at a BP station, and it was like not even a 5-minute walk. It was like probably 3-minute walk from the apartment I was living in. I'm like, oh man, I got to go in for 3 hours and close up. And dude looks at me, he's like, good luck. And I got there. I made it through about an hour, and the manager came in to do the banking, and she took one look at me. She's like, what's wrong with you? She's like, did you eat something bad? Because you look terrible. I'm like, yeah, I think I ate something. I told her, I'm like, I just made a Thanksgiving dinner, and I think I undercooked the turkey. She's like, you can go home, and I'm like, okay, thanks. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That was, yeah. Ran home and puked my guts out for about 2 hours.
I saw somebody one time. I was volunteering to work in the March of Dimes haunted house, and this kid that was out in line, to come in, he freaking, it looked like he was dead. He just dropped dead. Come to find out, he had a bottle of Everclear on him, and I guess he just, yeah, it wasn't good. They wound up taking him to the hospital, called an ambulance. He had alcohol poisoning. That was the first time I'd ever seen somebody like OD on alcohol. But it was a whole bottle of Everclear that he drank the whole damn thing.
Oh.
He could have died.
Yeah, you want to hear something cool? The March of Dimes, that was originally started in my birth town here in Ohio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it started back like around, I think, like 1908 or something, 1910. And it started because there was a major accident in the town. It was either a factory blew up, or there was like a train blew up and killed something like 30, 40 people, and most of them were kids. And the hospital at the time didn't have their shit together, and they weren't set up to receive like mass casualties. So a lot of kids and people died, where if they would have been like 2 towns over, they would have been, saved because they had a better hospital.
Oh, cool.
And all the kids in the neighborhood that year, they wanted to get, a modern hospital into the town. So they did a fundraiser, and they were just asking for dimes. That's why they call it the March of Dimes, because they had parades where, they were basically begging everybody on the sidewalk, can you spare a dime? We want to build a new hospital. That's how all that started.
Huh.
Elyria, Ohio.
So Zoom says he'll get us all drunk.
Yeah, he's going to get that fucked up moonshine.
He can get that Carolina moonshine.
Oh.
White lightning.
I'm considering making a still right now.
I wish you would.
But I don't want to use it to make alcohol. That's funny. I strictly want a still so that I can make my own distilled water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of methods to doing it at home without a still, like doing it on your stovetop and just collecting steam and everything. But it's just too time consuming and, wasting all the gas, running your stove like that. If you can get a still, or just the parts of a still, like the condenser coils, and put it together in like a 5-gallon bucket, and you can make, a gallon of distilled water every day for, pennies on the dollar.
You can make beer too.
I don't trust myself with that. That's a lot of work, and you got to study up on that. It's not. I'd rather learn how to. I mean, yeah, if I had a still to make my distilled water, I might, try making a couple bottles of rye. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, primarily I wanted to make my own distilled water.
Oh yeah, there was a video that came up on Funker 530 recently of a guy who was gonna jump out of a plane and his rig got caught up on the airplane,
I
and they
saw
went.
that. Yeah, that came out earlier today. You know, man, I had a really good friend who passed away 8-10 years ago, and he was a Vietnam vet, airborne with the 101st, and he had that same thing happen to him. He was jumping out of a C-47, and somehow his shit got all tangled up, and he wasn't just being drugged by the plane. Like, he hit the fuselage behind the wing, and there was enough slack in his line that he slid across down the fuselage, and he hit his back on the the rudder of the plane, and he by that time, he was just getting banged against the rudder, and he was able to finally pull out his knife and cut away his lines, and basically slipstream across the rudder to get clear of the plane, and then he popped his reserve chute, and he survived it. But he had to go. He was like in the hospital for almost a year for back problems because of that. I think he broke a vertebrae or something.
Wow.
Yeah. He was the dude that was going to teach me skydiving because he had his own rig. And he told me, he's like, if you ever want to go up, I do it, 4 or 5 times a year. And I got a guy with the plane who does it for me as a favor. So all you would need would be to rent a chute, and he would, show me how to pack it and teach me everything. And it just never happened because he went off the deep end and became a really bad drunk.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he basically drank himself to death. Like, imagine Aaron, but like 20 times worse.
I had an uncle like that. He drank from morning to night, and he was always sloshed. And he would drink to a point where it made him normal, and then he'd go beyond that and just get really shit faced. He had super tolerance for liquor, and he wound up, we'd have to go pick him up and get him dried out, and we never knew where we were going to find him next. We'd find him in the park in his pajamas, or in another state, sleeping on somebody's porch or something,
Yeah.
And the poor guy, it all started after a really bad divorce, and he owned car lots, and he was a Navy veteran, and he was my cool uncle. He was actually my cool uncle. He's the one that used to take us to the billiard hall and go play pool and go bowling and stuff. He actually spent time with me and my cousins. So, and he had this convertible 1960s Thunderbird, really nice car. He always had nice cars, and he was always giving people stuff. He was like really, really generous and everything. But yeah, he was a bad alcoholic, and he got so bad, he lost a lot of his mind. It actually destroyed his mind.
Yeah. My friend, me and him worked together at the gas station, working the night shift, and he ended up, he lost his job. He got sucked into a police sting where, they sent an underage person in to buy, beer or whatever. And he, didn't check the ID, and he sold it to the kid. And the next thing you know, like, there's like 5 cop cars up there with 8 cops, and they read him the riot act. And he did a couple days in jail, and this guy, he was like me. He didn't drive, and he rode a bicycle everywhere, just like I did at the time. And the weather was really bad one day, and he called me up, and he's like, is there any chance your dad you give me a lift up to, the mayor's court for my court appearance? I'm like, sure, dude. Yeah, no problem. So we took him up there, and then we never saw him again. He just dropped off the face of the earth. And then we saw him like 5-6 years later, walking his bike through the parking lot at a grocery store the next town over. And we're like, me and my dad are pulling in the lot, and I see this dude walking a bike, and he's wearing this, the same jacket that Gary wore. And I'm just looking at him, I'm like, it looks like Gary, but it doesn't look like Gary. And we're like, I told Dad, I'm like, pull up beside him, and I'm going to roll the window down. Sure enough, it was the same guy, but man, like, he just, after he lost the job, it ruined his life. Like, he just didn't have the will to live anymore. All he did was drink. And literally, like, he looked like, the only way I can compare it to was, do you remember when we finally found Saddam Hussein? We dug him out of that spider hole in Iraq.
Yeah.
And he looked all like completely out of his mind. His hair was all over the place, and he was he had a big, huge, uncut beard and everything. That's what this dude looked like. And he was always pretty, he was an Army Ranger, so he always kept himself, looking kind of sharp. And he just went off the deep end. Like, he was wearing clothes that like looked like they hadn't been washed in a couple of months. Stunk.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, how you doing? He's like, I'm just coming up here and get some vodka. He's like, you want to come back to my place and have a drink? We're like, no, man, we got stuff to do. And then never saw him again. And I heard from a mutual friend a few years later that he died. His liver probably gave out.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But then I later found out from another mutual friend. Finally, he told me, because I asked him once years back why he didn't drive. And he's like, oh, it's a long story. And he's like, we'll get drunk together some night and I'll tell you. And I'm like, okay, I didn't press the issue. And she later told me, 5 years after he died, she's like, yeah, the reason Gary didn't drive was because he served time in federal prison for being the getaway driver at a bank robbery where someone was killed. So he got, tacked on the manslaughter charge, even though he was just the driver. And he spent like 8 years in federal prison. Then he drifted down. He was living all over Central and South America. He was down in, he was in Panama for like 6 or 7 years, I think.
Well, you remember that guy from the movie Airwolf?
The pilot?
Yeah.
Yeah, John Michael Vincent.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that guy's life is such a sad story.
Is he dead by now?
Oh, yeah, he's been dead for a while.
Man, his life went downhill, didn't it?
Yeah, he had some major problems.
He was a good actor.
I like that show. That was one of my favorite shows in the 80s.
I love that show, Airwolf. That was one of my favorite shows ever. Yeah, Huey Cobra.
No, he didn't. The Airwolf wasn't a Huey.
It was a new version of the Huey, wasn't it? Attack helicopter.
No, it was it was a civilian passenger, like an executive helicopter.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, John Michael Vincent, he died February 2019.
2019, okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't.
I wonder what he died of.
Long ago.
I wonder what he died of.
I'm looking at it right now. Cardiac arrest, decreased heart rate. That's what they said.
Mm.
But yeah, he was he got fucked up back in the 90s in a really bad car wreck that he
Yeah.
almost didn't make it.
Oh, wow.
He broke like 2 or 3 vertebrae in his neck, fucked up his vocal cords, so he couldn't talk normal for the rest of his life.
Man. Whole stroke of bad luck on that guy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad to see, you know. Some destroyed his life. I don't know what. I know he had drug problems and alcohol and everything together, you know. Well, I think COVID actually, the lockdowns, people losing their businesses, create a lot of alcoholics. Actually, I know a lot of people that are heavy drinkers and never were before COVID. That was just a, it was just a horrible scheme, you know.
Yeah,
To
some
do
people
people.
can't take isolation because they say that mankind by nature is a social animal. But I've never fit that mold. I can get along by myself, for long periods of time. It doesn't bother me a bit. But like growing up, you got people like my sister that were completely polar opposite. She could not spend time alone. She had to be with friends, or with someone, anyone. She couldn't deal well on her own.
Well, I didn't start out as a social person at all. I was very antisocial.
Yeah.
Some things have actually helped to bring my personality, help me to overcome that, you know, so that, because I
Yeah, for
realized,
me, it was Boy Scouts.
huh?
For me, it was Boy Scouts that helped me out and, opened me up to being more of a sociable person because I was a loner as a kid.
Yeah. But I had, one thing that a lot of people uh, really have a hard time with, mostly here in America, is speaking in public.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I had some good course studies at my community college and everything on public speaking and things like that, which helped quite a bit. And then I attended Toastmaster meetings, which helped me with communicating with public. And I had I had a lot of course studies on doing presentations and things like that, for my business. And all of that was helpful. It's something. It's an American thing. A lot of us don't like speaking in public. We're just not into that. And
I don't like it, but I can do it if I need to. I've done it before. Fuck, I gave I was interviewed for network TV back when I was like 16.
Cool.
Boy Scout related shit.
Yeah, I mean, and there's people that are public personalities. I mean, I see Donald Trump get up there, and it seems like he really doesn't have any problem speaking to, masses of people. He's really good at what he does. I think it would be an asset to get better at public speaking, ignore the doubters and the haters and all that kind of thing, you know, because you're going to always experience that in public speaking engagements, whether it's politics or anything really, you know. You just have that. There's going to be hecklers. There's going to be, and they all think they can do things better because they're not up there talking like you are, you know.
Yep.
That's just a thing, you know, that it's hard to bring yourself to terms to say, you know what, I don't want to be scared of speaking in public. I just don't want to do it anymore. Force yourself to do things that are challenging. Force yourself to do it at first, and then it becomes more comfortable. I don't want to use my personal name on Twitch and YouTube.
Yep.
I probably should get over that. What kind of soured me on that was finding out that I think I was on Twitter and somebody had taken my photo and used it in commercial. Twitter let me know about it too.
Yeah.
And they asked, "Is this you?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And they said, "Well, we've put a stop on everywhere that this photograph is being, you know." And Twitter
That
was really
happened
decent.
to my sister on Facebook. Someone grabbed her profile photo.
Yeah,
And it ended up on a bunch of fucking dating sites.
yeah, that kind of thing. Yep, exactly.
And like, to their credit, you know, Facebook, you know, they found out about it, you know, within like 2 days and sent her, you know, a message, you know, we're going to take care of this completely. Don't worry about it. Your account's safe. Your information's safe. They just grabbed the photo. And
Tell
they
you,
went,
I after my divorce, you know, I had been on dating websites. I was like on OkCupid and what was it, Plenty of Fish and all those. I did it myself.
yeah.
And I met this girl one time who went by the name of Ava Longoria. Well, come to find out, it was some little freaking troll living in Indonesia, but I didn't know that. That was eventually, you know, trying to get a relationship going, but really didn't want to meet me, just wanted me to send her money.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that could be treacherous. And every single person that I've met online has been a treacherous situation. So it soured me in even wanting to put my own name on things or my face on things.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's the reason why I use anonymous profiles and things like that, you know, avatars and crap. It's not because I'm shy, it's just because there's some treacherous shit going on.
Well, I had a similar situation. I got hacked on Facebook. And honestly, I don't think to this day, I don't think I can really talk about it. Let's just say the government got involved.
Yeah.
FBI, Homeland Security, and the military. That's all I'm going to say.
Yep. Normally, when people meet me in person, I'm actually a very open person. You know, I'm not scared of shit. I mean, I'm just open. I try to be honest. You know, I find out I'm not perfect at that, but I try. And I try hard. I mean, I go to extra lengths to be honest with everything, but you know, it's just, they're just, sometimes you find yourself in a treacherous situation. Giving too much information about yourself, you can really be targeted. So that's why we use CB handles on the CB radio and don't use your own name unless you get in a more of a professional type of an atmosphere. I got talking with these people. We were on a first name basis on a single sideband, and everybody was on a first name basis because you don't want to give too much information away about your exact location and things like that. But yeah, we talked to each and we met each other. We actually had places where we'd all go meet and have coffee and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
people in my area. And I was a member of a club out of Canada that I had a call sign and was on a first name basis with all those people. It's kind of like the next step up would be ham operator.
Mm.
And it's not like your channel 19, what's your 20 good buddy kind of stuff. It was the people were a lot more decent, and we'd get trolls occasionally in there and we'd just get rid of them. We learned how to get rid of them. What we call trolls now, we didn't call them trolls then, but I would say they're the same thing as a basement dwelling troll, So I don't have to get up early tomorrow, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah, I get to sleep in. So maybe I can hang out with you for a little while. It's 10:37. I don't know if you need to get up early or not.
That's 12:37 here. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anybody else really in here because it's Sunday and Tanya didn't stream tonight, so
I hope she's okay.
she's probably got to work in the morning, so she's probably asleep.
Yeah. And apparently Wiz is not on.
Oh,
What's good?
I think he had another heat wave day today, so he was probably just plumb tuckered out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He got, because the way the weather patterns seem to be going, like his weather precedes my weather by like 2 days, and it hit like 95 here today. So he probably, today he was in the 90s, I'm sure.
Mark Dice has a shirt that says, "I love global warming. I heart global warming."
Well, hey, there's Kimmy. What's up, Kim?
Kimmy, where have you been hiding, you lurker?
Yeah, sometimes Sundays just are real quiet.
Yeah, sometimes. Not here. Sounds like Ukraine over here.
Yeah. Pioneer Day.
Yeah, I got bombs and shit going off over me and everything.
Man, people are so jacked up on fireworks around here. They'll use almost any holiday as an excuse. We get people that will set off fireworks on Halloween and even fucking Thanksgiving.
Yeah, here too.
And always New Year's Eve. Although last year was actually pretty quiet for New Year's Eve. Going back a few years, like it was worse than the 4th of July, man. It sounded like the whole neighborhood was under it. It sounded like Fallujah.
You guys have companies, more than one company that makes fireworks over there in Ohio.
Yeah, there's a couple. Hey, I gotta run downstairs for a minute. I gotta get something to drink. I'll be right back.
Okay. I have 2 dogs, Zoom. Oh, nice, Zoom. 16 years old. That's a long life for a dog.
I'm back.
My last dog was 18 years. She lived to 18 years. The one I had before. She was a reservation dog. And my dog that I got now, she's actually kind of a reservation dog too. I didn't get her off the reservation, but she's basically a breed that would be on a reservation. Yeah. Indian dog. Oh, yeah. Named it after Radar. Yeah, yep, yep. There's Jason. So you're back. Okay, cool. I was just kind of keeping up with the chat a little bit there. Right now, I kind of wish I had a 7-Up or something. Sounds good. Ice cold 7-Up.
I'm gonna smoke a bowl.
Yeah, I think we've been having a lot of helicopters because they're kind of concerned that they're gonna. I think they're patrolling to look for wildfires with all the fireworks and everything, trying to keep up ahead of it before it gets bad. Radar, Hawkeye, Major Burns. Hot Lips Houlihan. Mm.
Oh, excuse me.
Jeez, better wipe after that one.
Ew. I got floaties in my drink.
Ew.
Ew. That's nasty. Fuck. Well, I ain't gonna drink that. Yeah. Some kind of white pasty shit.
Ew. That's really gross.
Well, to be okay, these drinks that I got, these what did I say I was drinking? Pina coladas.
Yeah.
They're those freezable pouch drinks that come in like a foil lined plastic pouch.
Yeah.
So you can throw them in the freezer, and then once they're chilled, you can open them up and just pour them in a glass. They're like at least 3 years old. The one I had earlier tasted fine, but I'm not trusting floaties.
I wish we had snow. I'd be happy if we get snow in the summer. If we get snow, I'll go make me some snow cones. Yeah, good. But over here, I went to a couple of different stores where they sell meat, and I was asking them. I'm saying, is there any chance that we could have a meat shortage here? And they're like, no, all the meat we carry is from our state. So if there's, they're not going to be having any like shutdowns of the processing plants and all that stuff. That's not going to happen here. Not here where I live. I don't. And we're actually in a great place. I think you are too, Canoes, because you're in a place where there's a lot of farming there, and you're not relying on the global food.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that, but my problem personally is, I don't drive, so I'm kind of limited as to the options of where I can, shop at. I rely on the kindness of friends and neighbors to get around for going grocery shopping and whatnot, because my corner store doesn't stock everything, and they're overpriced as it is.
Yeah. So we've got that, and I actually know some ranchers over here where if I wanted to, I could get a whole sheep or a whole goat or something and butcher it up myself and stock my freezer. So that's That's one good thing. We've got all the honey you could ever want here. Basically, they've been selling bees and transporting them to other states because we were able to save our honeybees. And we produce our own oil. We basically produce everything here. We could produce everything here. We were set up to be able to do that and produce a surplus of it.
Don't you guys have shale oil out there?
Yeah, just over the border in Wyoming. That shale oil is up near Rock Springs, Wyoming. So yeah, we could get that. But we have oil fields here. I mean, we've got a lot of oil fields here. The reservation up here actually leases land to the oil companies. So the federal government's got no say in it because we pump our oil off the reservation. That is up near Skinwalker Ranch, by the way. Duchesne, Utah. That's where Skinwalker Ranch is. And that whole area around Duchesne, Vernal, and Roosevelt, that's all oil fields. And they get their oil leases from the Paiutes.
Damn.
Then up there around Rock Springs and Rock Springs, Wyoming, we got a lot of oil fields up there too. So really, there's no reason that we would be having high gas prices. So I really do think a lot of the oil companies are gouging us because we've got 5 refineries in the vicinity that I live in.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with whatever OPEC charges for prices.
Nope. I've been saying it for years and years. It's all half the problem with gas is the taxes involved. The other half's involved with having it the prices on the commodities market for buying and selling futures in gas and oil. That's the big thing. Yeah, the government taxes the fuck out of it.
Well, our state government is like 4 times higher tax than what the federal charges. The federal shouldn't even be taxing a raw commodity like that. They shouldn't even be able to do it.
No, but that's the way it is.
And the funny thing is on the stock market, be quiet. Be quiet. Stupid, retarded dog. Okay, well, you tell me anything besides oil that's actually marketed on the stock market in its raw form, because there isn't any.
Not in terms of like the New York Stock Exchange, but look at Chicago. They got the big commodities exchange is based there, and they have future speculation on everything from the price of beef and pork to grain prices. That's, and it's it's regulated by the government with the FTC.
Well,
So
that's agricultural, but I was referring to raw resources. It's kind of like a different market, you know.
well, gold, silver, platinum, all that shit.
It's on there on its refined price.
Yeah.
It's after it's
Um.
refined.
Well,
Gasoline is not on
it,
the stock exchange. Only crude oil.
yeah. I guess you're right about that, but I don't have any kind of economic background. That I never learned any of that shit. You
I,
had to
I just
sign
don't
up.
know how. I don't know
You had
how
to.
they managed that. I just
Yeah.
don't know how they were
I
met.
don't even either because we didn't have when I went to school we didn't have civics and we didn't have economy studies. All we had was social studies,
Yeah.
and that's part of the problem.
I mean, I could see in my state, if we seceded from the United States, that we could pretty much make it on our own, but we'd probably have an agreement with Idaho and some adjacent states, for certain things. Probably, and this all came with putting up the border wall and saying that they were going to stop imports coming from Mexico. And so that would include bananas and other stuff like that. That talk was out there at that time. And I thought, I think Arizona could actually grow bananas. We don't even need the help of California.
Do they grow bananas in California?
Yeah, they can.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I saw banana trees when I lived there when I was a kid.
I
It's
thought
a
the only
med.
place I thought the only place in America that they grew bananas was in Hawaii.
No, they grow them in Florida too.
Hmm.
Yeah, lots of banana trees in Florida.
Yeah. Did not I know all about the citrus and everything, but both in California and Florida, but
California
growing.
is not a tropical climate. No part of California is. It's mostly Mediterranean climate. So there are lots of eucalyptus trees all over. There's date palms, pomegranates, figs, stuff like that. There, artichokes.
That reminds me, I got to talk to Wiz and get him looking into possibly growing sugar cane out at his place. I think he's warm enough that he might be able to get away with it.
Everything Biden says is a lie. And everything the media says is part of the lie that Biden is saying. So none of that has any credence with me, that's for sure. I'm talking to battery.
Yeah.
Well, Trump had us off of oil imports. We were actually exporting it. We were selling it to
Yep.
other countries.
Yep.
We were producing a surplus, and we didn't even have the pipeline built yet. And
Yep.
now he's draining our strategic reserve to bring gas prices down. But then they're going to have to go back up because the reserve is going to be gone. So stupid. Biden is the chief ass monkey ghost. Yeah. I called him the vegetable in chief.
I just call him a fucktard.
Yeah, that too. Traitor, fucktard, whatever. It all applies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be strategic, but how come Biden sent a bunch of oil to China?
Isn't the strategic reserve like based in Texas and Louisiana?
That's what I
Is where,
heard.
yeah, where all the storage tanks are.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard they were stored underground.
I think they did. I remember seeing on the news. The place in Louisiana, yeah, they probably had underground storage, but they had above ground as well.
Yeah, Battery said it. I've said that too. That Biden is what you get when you get a mail order president.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sending all them fake mail in ballots, and you get a fake ass president.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a viral trend going around that I saw a couple of days ago. You remember a few months back, it was earlier in the year, where he fell off his bike.
Yeah.
He was riding around, and a crowd was waiting for him, like at this trailhead or something, and he fell off his bike. Well, now people are going around to the exact same spot, and they're just like, falling off their bikes for fun and videoing it. I think I saw that on a Gateway Pundit like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah, you should get a mail order Russian girl platoon.
You could do a lot worse.
I'm sure with all the dead Russian soldiers, there's going to be a lot of single women in Russia
And Ukraine too.
and Ukraine too.
Yeah, dude. I wouldn't mind a Ukrainian wife.
Me neither.
Hell no. Them ladies know how to cook, unless they're like the libtard Euro trash type Ukrainians. But yeah, most Ukrainian and Russian women know how to feed their man.
Yep. Yeah. Probably get fat too.
They keep you warm at night.
They probably know how to skin a grizzly bear and hunt moose. Well, Battery has a solar generator. That's great. Are you completely off grid yet? That's the question.
Nah, not yet. Maybe for his little workshop, but not for his entire house and everything.
I want to go completely off grid. I want a boat. I want a 40-foot sailboat, and I'm going to do the solar panels on it. Not going to have to pay property tax. Be able to go anywhere I want. 75% of the world's covered in water, and no lawns to mow, no trees to trim. All the fish I can eat. Oh yeah.
Just got to keep up with Coast Guard standards. That's about it.
Yep.
Have all your safety gear, in working order. And make sure your boat's licensed. The registration's up to date, and then you ain't got no problems. I was thinking about you earlier over in Aaron's chat when you mentioned that about the boat. I'm like, damn, a good idea for Bill, if he ever gets his boat, he should get a big enough boat that he can tow a barge and have his own little garden on the barge so he can always have fresh food.
Well, I'll just do some island hopping and go collect coconuts and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have figured out ways places to go where you could get food and all that. I'm sure people have done that. I
Yep.
mean, just get out in that marine environment and talking with fellow mariners and everything, and eventually you're going to get ideas from them. I think I'd just like pull into Key Largo and work at a bait and tackle shop for a couple of months so I could stock up on provisions and load up and head away, haul away.
I imagine after like 5 years of doing that, you would remind me of the old dude from Jaws. The shark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to have to get me one of those long bent pipes. Smoke one of those like old salty sea captain kind of bent pipes with my big long beard and everything.
Get like a Greek style fishing hat.
Yeah.
Braid on the brim.
Then I'll go sail to Tahiti and pick up a couple of female Tahiti crewmates.
There's more Chinese on Tahiti than there are Tahitians.
Okay, Fiji then.
I read that somewhere a couple weeks ago. It was like it was a defense report about all the islands in the Pacific and how the population of Chinese people are skyrocketing and overcoming the population majority on a bunch of the smaller islands.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Mongolians.
Yep. See, that's why you need the barge so you can keep a couple yaks on there and have a Mongolian crew that will be your mobile milk maidens.
And feed the yak seaweed. They probably can eat seaweed, right?
I think yaks will eat anything that's green. Papillon.
We'll have to stop somewhere.
Battery. Thank you for mentioning that. I'm going to have to go and watch that movie again. I haven't seen that in such a long time.
I never saw it. I don't know what it is. Papillon.
Who is the guy in that? Oh, it was a good movie.
But I'm seeing these people, they're still doing it. They're even getting free boats. There's these big 40-footers and stuff. A lot of people, it's owned by some old guy that dies or whatever, and the family tries to sell it and they can't, and they're willing to give it away or get a boat that's on a trailer out of their yard because it's just taking up space, and they'll practically pay you to take it away.
Hey, here's an idea for you. I keep hearing that the drought's so bad out Salt Lake that people are finding, boats that have been covered up for years. You might be able to salvage one.
They're finding them where?
Salt Lake. Great Salt Lake.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's not really any good places to take a boat around here. The deepest part of the Great Salt Lake is about 40 feet deep. I mean, they do take sailboats out there, but the marina, the boats, basically the marina is all dried up. They've got them all dry docked.
Yeah.
It's going to come back, though. When it does, it's going to come back with a vengeance. Otherwise, the seagulls will be long gone.
Now, how, because I know a lot of that has to do with the snowfall that you guys get and the spring runoff and everything. How was the conditions during this past wintertime at the ski resorts out there?
Actually, pretty good. Pretty good. We had a lot of snow last year up in the mountains, but it wasn't enough to. It's not enough to overcome the drought. That's the problem. We've got to get these reservoirs and everything filled up. The Great Salt Lake is drying up because they've diverted a lot of the water for agriculture.
You need like a pipeline from like the Green River or something.
Yeah, whatever rivers flow into the Great Salt Lake, they divert it. They use it for agriculture and culinary.
You know, it's always bothered me. I remember back when I was in school, Christ, I think it was still in elementary school, like when I was in like the 4th or 5th grade, they made this huge announcement that they discovered what's known now as the Ogallala Aquifer underneath the prairies, like stretched, you know, from the Dakotas down to Texas and into Colorado too, I think. And there's all these people, you know, oh, we can finally save the West, you know, pipeline, you know, the aquifer, and, you know, pipeline it west or send it in water cars on trains, you know, to fill the rivers and whatnot and make a new desert paradise for agriculture out there. And yep, nothing ever happened.
Huh.
You don't even hear anything about the Ogallala Aquifer anymore.
Nevada is supposed to have a big aquifer under it too. Freshwater aquifer. The entire state, all the way down to Don T, all the way up in Idaho.
It's probably irradiated from all the nuclear tests underground.
I think a lot of the water has traces of arsenic.
Oh, from mine tailings and shit?
Nope, just natural occurring arsenic.
Yeah.
And that's one big reason why it hasn't become a big farming state. You don't see much farming other than hay fields. That's pretty much about it. We grow alfalfa and that kind of thing, but you don't see.
Yeah, it's cattle fodder.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Depends on where you go in Nevada too. It's northern Nevada, there's more of it. Southern Nevada, it's just really, there's no farming whatsoever down there. And I was up at the VA and was talking to a guy who was from Elko, Nevada, and he said he only drinks bottled water because of the arsenic. Says he'll shower in it, but he said it's not high. I mean, you could drink it, but you drink it on a regular basis and you could wind up having health problems from it. If you were drinking it for years, you know. The levels are low, but they're there. Saudi Arabia has desalination plants.
Yeah.
That I mean,
that more than oil, I think, is what has kept Saudi Arabia on the rise, because, you know, it made them totally independent. The oil infrastructure they have gave them the capital to invest in all that desalination plants, and that's
they're huge. And there are many of them.
Yep. They're all over the coasts there. 100. Yeah, probably at least 100 of them. Like you
We've
got the
been.
money, why go small? Go big.
Mm,
But nah, you couldn't pay me to live there.
me neither. I wouldn't want to live in Dubai or anywhere. I got no intentions in my entire lifetime of ever even visiting Dubai. Keep that crap.
Oh man, I would have actually liked to see Libya back in the day before Gaddafi got a hold of it and fucked it all up. Libya used to be a huge ally of ours.
Yeah, they were.
We're the ones that found the oil for them over there, just like in Saudi. And fuck, we had strategic air command bases there. We had nuclear bombers based there in Libya.
How could Dubai have a ski resort? Must be indoors.
It's indoors. Yeah, it's like in. It takes up like the first 10 ground floors of like the main lobby of the hotel building that it's in.
I would like to go back to Istanbul someday. I'd like to go back to Turkey.
Yeah, I'd like to see Turkey. Um, all the Slavic nations out there, I'd actually like to see.
Same here.
Bosnia, Serbia,
Oh yeah. I want to go to
uh,
Serbia. Yep.
Czechoslovakia,
I want to go to Romania too and Bulgaria.
Moldova.
I would even like to go to Uzbekistan.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of those Stan countries out there look interesting as fuck. Um, Place I've really been interested in now for a little while is Azerbaijan.
Yeah, Azerbaijan, Bajan.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
they. I've been following a couple of YouTubers that are out there that do. They have small farms and they do sustainable living and growing most of their own food and raising their own livestock and stuff, like out in the little villages up in the mountains and shit. And it's a whole other simpler world. And they make it, you know, life look like paradise when they don't have all that much to begin with.
I wouldn't want to go to. I have no desire to go to Croatia. I don't care one bit about Croatia, but Serbia, yeah.
Yeah, Croatia is very popular as a tourist destination.
I know. I don't care.
They got that whole area they call the Dalmatian coast.
Yeah.
It's one of the most popular beach areas in Europe. Oh, if you're ever in the area, you should at least go there for like a weekend and just try the food.
Czech Republic, that'd be fun. Hungary would be fun.
Serbia's got great food too, and all those Eastern European countries have great food.
I just don't want to go to the places where everybody else goes, you know?
Yeah,
That's why I'm saying like Romania and stuff. It's not like everybody wants to go to Romania, you know?
I'd like to go see a lot of places in Europe, and I definitely don't want to go to France. Uh, Even all the historical shit in France, I mean, just doesn't really interest me because it's just French.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want to go back to Italy. I really don't care about
I'd
Italy
like to see,
anymore.
but from what I understand, like all of the major cities, they're just huge tourist traps now. A lot of the old traditional um, neighborhoods and everything, they're completely overgrown with trendy hipster bars and restaurants and shit and nightclubs.
I like Portugal. I like Spain.
I'd like to go to Spain someday.
Yep. I think I would love Portugal. I've been to Portugal. I never went to Spain, but I went to Portugal only for like a layover on a flight. So I
Yeah.
could say I've been there, but you know, other than that, I didn't get to see much of it. I know it was hot as hell there, very humid.
I think Colonel Shaw's still out there on his vacation, or else he's. I don't know how long he was planning on being away for, but he's been gone. We haven't seen him here in at least a week.
He went to the Canary Islands.
Yeah, they're off of the Portuguese coast. They're part of Portugal.
I think the Canaries are uh I think there's a lot of Dutch people that go there.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Even though
I
it's owned by Spain.
yeah.
If I could go to I'd like to tour all of Spain. I'd like to go on a castle tour of Spain. They have the most intact castles of all of Europe.
And they got like the craziest looking cathedral in one city. It's
The-
like the architecture just blows your mind. It's
Like
like
I,
it's semi-modern fused with like medieval type shit. It just looks strange as fuck.
that's what I want to see, the historical stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Palace of Habra, Seville.
Yeah, a lot of Moorish influence there because that was like the capital of the Western Moorish Empire or the Caliphate that they had way back when.
And I think that Barcelona has the most number of stunningly beautiful women of all of Spain.
I've heard that.
Huh?
I've heard that.
Yep.
Oh, I'd like to see. Well, hell, if you get your boat, I'll tag along with you, and we'll do our tour of the Med. We can go to like all the islands in the Med. We could go to like the Balearic Islands off of Spain,
Sardinia.
Corsica,
Sardinia.
Sardinia,
Yep.
Corsica.
Malta.
Yeah, definitely Malta. Um, and then all over the Greek Isles.
Oh yeah.
Go to Cyprus.
Yep. I don't know if I want to go to Cyprus. Well, maybe, but I speak Turkish. I don't speak Greek.
Yeah, it depends on which side of the country you go. That's one fucked up place. I can't believe that they're still surviving without completely having like a civil war to finally settle the whole matter. No, I know why. It'll never get settled because both Greece and Turkey are fucking NATO members.
Yep. But there was a war, right, that happened just before I got to Turkey in Cyprus.
Yep.
But I still would like to. I'd like to go see a lot of those Greek islands like Sofia, and I believe it or not, I've been to the city of Troy over in Turkey. It's was all excavated, by
Yeah,
some.
what's left of it.
There's a lot there. I've been
There's a
there.
lot of places all over Europe scattered around where you can still find ancient Roman, structures that are remarkably preserved. Like, um, I think it's either in Croatia or maybe even further east, like Belarus or something. They have this like remarkably well preserved public amphitheater with all like the Roman columns and everything. It's one of the best places to see a concert over in Europe.
Yeah.
The town, I don't know what country it is, but the town is called Plovdiv, Plovdiv.
I've been snorkeling in the Bosphorus and the Marmara. The Marmara and the Bosphorus, I went snorkeling both places. And the Black Sea, I've crossed the Black Sea. It's black. The Black Sea is black. And most of the Black Sea is void of life.
Yep.
But
Thank
there
you,
are.
Russia. Thank you, Soviet Union.
There's so many places to see there, though. There's a lot of shipbuilding companies, Turkish shipbuilding companies right there on the Black Sea, too.
I want to tour the factory where they make Bayraktar.
Bayraktar. Yeah.
That would be a cool place to visit.
I'd like to go there and just high five everybody.
I imagine that how funny it would be like at that factory, like when they blow the whistle at noon for lunch break, everybody just like stops what they're doing and they just start singing that fucking song before they go to eat.
Yeah. Well, I'd also like to go to Egypt and Ethiopia. I'd like to see Egypt and Ethiopia. I don't know how much I want to see of Egypt, but
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I know someone that goes to Egypt every year, and they've been saying for years that every year it gets worse. Like, especially in Cairo, like all the tourist places, like the pyramids and everything, they're surrounded, like the open desert space around the pyramids is like completely surrounded, like hundreds of acres of like open air markets that pop up every day where people are selling just all kinds of garbage and pushing all kinds of garbage. You got to walk through like crowds of like tens of thousands of people to even get to the fucking pyramid.
maybe it won't be so good then.
I'd like to see Morocco.
But I was thinking of maybe going to Cairo and some places like that, just to get a feel of the place.
I'd like to go see Israel.
I really want to go to see Israel too. But like I say, I like to get off the beaten path and go, interact with people. I don't want to be like with some big tour group.
Yeah. No, when I travel, I generally travel alone.
I met a friend in Istanbul, and I used to hang out with him, and he was Turkish, and he kind of guided me around Istanbul. He was kind of like a personal guide. I'd buy him shit every now and then, but he was just a friend, you know. I made friends with a lot of Turkish soldiers and everything. Yeah, they're from what I experienced, they were really good people.
Yeah, I've known some Turks over the Turkish American folks, and never had a problem with any of them.
And when they see you're making an attempt to try to speak their language and that you're it's not about they're trying to get money out of you or anything like that. They just they're just nice people, you know. Go have
It's like these new owners that bought the market I worked at just up the street. It's a family of Indians. It was a little leery at first because they look really Muslim. I won't deny it. They must be like from the border regions, but yeah, they're all Indian, and some of them don't speak that good of English. But they're super nice folks. I wouldn't have a problem going back there and working for them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've actually gone to some Pakistani people's house and ate dinner with them, and I know these people really well, and uh, they're they have a lot of relatives that live here,
Yep.
and this group of people they married my niece. Well, a kid married my niece, and they moved to Chicago, of all places. I would never move to Chicago, and my niece says they're actually going to be moving to Columbia. She works for an airlines, and she's a flight attendant, and she's going to be moving to Columbia and still coming back here to visit her family and everything. But they want to live in Columbia for about 3 years or so, and then come back. And Columbia actually is a amazing country too. Columbia's got amazing things there. It's easy to get in trouble if you're American.
Yep.
But if you like, she has family to go see. My niece does, so because she's half Colombian, and so she can go and stay with family and everything, and work out of there. And her husband's trying to get his finish up his degree. That's why they originally went to Chicago, so he could finish up his degree up there.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that Colombia was pretty much the first modern democratic country in South America. We supported them like back in 1800s to bring, you know, true Western democracy over there. And then the cartels fucked it all up.
Well, the people that live in Colombia are still very entrepreneurial.
Mm-hmm.
I know that much. And socialism, they really don't like it. And nobody in Brazil likes it either, except for a few cucks. Yeah.
You know, Colombia, they make some damn good beer down there.
Oh, really?
I've had Colombian beer before. Oh, yeah, it's tasty.
Yeah, they're very entrepreneurial. They're inventive. They're really good at making something out of nothing. And there are a lot of poor people there that have figured out ways of getting by, you know?
Yep.
It could be so much more, though. Same thing with Venezuela. Venezuela was, I mean, it was like the jewel of South America.
Yeah.
And I actually know a little bit about that too. Yeah.
From what I hear nowadays, the worst place in South America is Brazil. because they got such a overpopulation, in the big cities, and like their shanty towns are enormous. They're, they're just insane. But they there's this one slum outside of Rio where it's like almost like 10,000 acres. It's just huge. And
Oh yeah,
a lot of those places, like the police just don't go there.
yeah. The Colombian girls, they really pride themselves on their round, voluptuous butts. Schumer Pelosi just mentioned that. Yes, they pride themselves on that. They'll save
Well,
up. They'll save up their money and everything just to get like a butt job and stuff.
yeah. If you don't end up getting a Mongolian milkmaid, you could get a way down South America. What's the big desert country down there?
Argentina or Bolivia.
Argentina. Yeah, like they got the llama maids.
Oh yeah, yeah, they do. That's right.
And the alpaca maids.
Oh yeah.
But in my opinion, they're not as good looking as the Mongolians.
I don't know. I don't know if they are or not.
I've seen pictures. Oh man, you know what? I think I'm about ready to call it a night here.
Now you got me thinking about that. I'm gonna have to look up some pictures as soon as I get off of here. See what the Argentina girls look like. Uruguay, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, Bolivia.
Peru.
Yeah, Peru's more up north though. You got that whole country of Chile going way, way down there. And tons of islands in Chile. Thousands of them.
Oh
Thousands of islands. Probably could buy an island. I'm wondering if you could.
yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
I'd have to buy me a little Chilean island or something. And yeah.
Park your boat. Just cruise around whenever you need, groceries.
Yeah, maybe get a little farm going down on an island down there.
Excuse me.
Grow some pineapples or something. All righty then.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else is going to be interested in coming up tonight. So,
Yeah, they're just more into lurking, I guess.
yeah. I'm going to go heat up some lasagna.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So everybody in the chat, thank you all for coming in tonight. Bill, always a pleasure.
All righty, have a good night. Catch you tomorrow.
Yep. On the flip side.